So I finished watching the Netflix series Dark, which is actually the first original German series on Netflix. And season 3, the season finale in season 3, just came out in June, and I finished it last night. And I just wanted to give an initial reaction to this and do a more in-depth video either next week or the week after. This is perhaps one of the best things I've seen since Breaking Bad. It's great. It's about, and there's going to be some spoilers in this, so not many. I'm going to keep this brief. But it's a series about time travel and about love, about human emotions, and about the advancement of science, really, and sort of the things that we might have to deal with, the consequences of these things. I don't know exactly what goes on at the Hadron Collider in CERN, Switzerland, but, you know, this movie isn't a condemnation of science or, you know, sort of a criticism of people meddling with things that are going to affect us all. But I think that's what this series Dark is kind of about. How what we do individually may end up affecting the collective in a way. And it's not you don't get the sense that there's any sort of agenda here. It's just a beautiful, really smart series. Probably only the Germans could come up with such a tragic or triumphant love story. Got to be one of the best love stories in all of TV or movies. But the time travel aspect just has me thinking about, you know, given the fact that the pandemic is happening and everything's happening right now, and even when things weren't happening before, I always like to look up at the stars and sky and wonder what we're doing here. And when you watch something like this, that you know, I don't know if this is possible or not. You'll have to ask old Neil deGrasse Tyson if this is possible, or the guy who hosts the Infinite Monkey Cage, Brian Cox from the BBC. But you know, this series is one of those things that puts things into perspective. I hope they do a lot more German things, because this is the kind of smart and meaningful thing that needs to happen more often. I feel like that kind of thing happens. I mean, look at all the great philosophers that came from Germany, you know, Wittgenstein, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche. And there's a line in this series, and I don't remember I think it's the second season, where with the main character, they're talking about time travel and God, and somebody says something about God, and he says, "There is no God, time is God." And I thought, that's so true. We really, whatever we focus on becomes our God. And so you could say that it was money, but it's probably more time. We're so focused on time. Everything's about preserving health, or, you know, enjoying your life. But yet we do things that don't follow those rules, or they do, but they do in ways that actually hurt us. This is a story about a guy, and this is the thing about it, that's not even really that it's important to the plot, but it's not like something that is there. It doesn't involve the characters that we see that much. It's a guy who's a scientist who is more focused on science than establishing a relationship with his son and his daughter-in-law and their baby. And they have a fight one night, and the son drives home, and they die because their car goes off a bridge. Because of that, this scientist then, 14 years later, 1986, I believe, invents a time machine, and I don't know if he didn't do it right or what, but he wants to go back in time to save his son. And when he does that, he actually stops that world and creates 2 other worlds from that, and everything is stuck in those 2 alternate realities. And in order to get back to the origin story, the main characters who are in love, Jonas and Martha, they have to together go back. Somehow they were to blame for this, but I don't understand why, because the guy, some of the things I'll have to talk about in the more in-depth one, but without going into too much detail, they had to go back to the moment where the son was about to drive off the bridge, not on purpose, the crash, and stop that from happening so that the guy wouldn't invent the time machine and then everything could go on. But then at the end of season 3 in the finale, you see you get there's something that's said at the end of it that makes you think, well, it's just going to continue anyway. Like, we're just caught in a loop, and that's I think the point of this is about love and loops, love loops, and it's great. You got to see it. It's fantastic. It's 3 seasons. First season is 10 episodes, and each of 2 and 3 have 8. It's a long thing, but you can get through it in a week. It's smart. It's beautiful. There are some really powerful scenes in it. And my initial reaction, which is what this episode is about, is that it's great. And the season finale is fantastic. I loved the Lost finale. I loved Breaking Bad finale. I was okay with the Sopranos finale. Didn't see Game of Thrones. It's not my bag. But this is great. And so my initial reaction, it's great. And I want to do a more in-depth thing because I have questions about, not about what the artistic side of what happened in Dark Season 3 or the ending, but it's more about how possible is this? You know, how do we know? It's not some drunk person sleeping in Skid Row in LA who's spouting off things like there are alternate realities. No, these are the top scientists in the world saying this. And it's almost like the thing with the UFO sightings by the Navy and the release of the Pentagon videos, and then the recent findings that there are potentially off-world vehicles that are in the U.S. government possession. These are not small topics. These are not topics that you should be brushing, or anybody should be brushing under the rug, sweeping under the rug. I just gave it away right there. I'm an alien spy. I didn't know the expression. But these are big topics, and they should be talked about. We should be talking about them. There's always going to be something else going on, and I think this touches on that. But you know, the most beautiful thing about this is the love story between Jonas and Martha. It's fantastic. You got to see this series. I'll leave it there for now. Remember, you can follow everywhere at Pop Culture Fridays. And thisiswhereyouare.com is the site. Also, something that I haven't done yet on thisiswhereyouare.com, if you go to shop official merch, we've got some Pop Culture Fridays mugs, coffee mugs. You can put your meth in there, you can put crayons in there, whatever. They say crayons in New Orleans. You can put your crayons in there. But we say crayons over here. You can put your speed or your juice or whatever you want to do. Pop Culture Fridays coffee mug. It's a good way to support the show. And you get a coffee mug out of it. So, yeah, check that out. Thisiswhereyouare.com, shop official merch. Click on that PCF mug, and maybe we'll make it through to the next, I don't know, financial... What do they call them? Quarters? Maybe the PCF will make it to the next financial quarter. It's all on you to make it. Help us make it to the next financial quarter. Probably going to make it anyway, but definitely need your support. So there, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. See, I'm talking like I'm so. My German is so rusty, but watching it, I almost took the subtitles off a few times because I miss speaking that language. So I'm starting to. My English is starting to follow the German structure a little bit. There is where I will leave it. Okay, until next time, I'm going to talk about, hopefully give a more in-depth analysis of Season 3. And until then, be safe, be well, and I will see you next time.